What's going on, guys? No Job Rob here. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I just want to talk about a recent development, which has been my shift to the ketogenic lifestyle. And I just want to share with you guys why I made the shift, why it might be something for you guys to consider, and what my experience has been so far. So most people, and understandably so, when they think diet, they automatically think weight loss. Thankfully, I had already cut out almost all empty calories and empty sugar, and I'm grateful to have been born with a fast metabolism. So even though I'm already at what I would consider to be my ideal weight, I was more interested to make a dietary shift as a result of chronically low energy and poor digestion. Something I feel that has held me back in my career as an internet marketer is just feeling like I don't have enough energy to consistently produce content, and just feeling like I don't have the clarity of mind to make correct decisions. So when I started to pay attention to high achievers in my industry, entrepreneurs who had accomplished much more than I had, a common thread that I noticed was that quite a number of them were touting the benefits of the ketogenic diet. And they were stating that by detoxifying themselves, so to speak, of all this nonsense like sugar, refined carbs, gluten, it was providing them with the cognitive boost that they needed in order to get an edge and take things to the next level. So just to give you guys a very brief overview of what the ketogenic diet is, if you're not familiar, it involves drastically reducing your intake of carbs. There are different opinions out there. Some say 10 grams a day, some say 20, some say 50. But if you're able to sustain this for even just a few days, your body will shift from burning the carbs for fuel to burning fat. And a byproduct of this is the production of an extra macronutrient called ketones, which is actually a cleaner fuel source for the brain to run on, as well as having some healing properties within the body. So people who are in a state of ketosis and they're experiencing this production of the ketones, they report elevated mood, elevated energy levels. And there's evidence to suggest that it's anti-inflammatory, as well as staving off diseases like diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's. There was actually a pretty good documentary recently on Netflix called The Magic Pill, which highlighted some people that had seen pretty significant benefits of a low-carb diet. I'm not claiming it was 100% accurate, but at the same time, you were able to see a number of people who were able to eliminate a number of medications that they were relying on. People with late-stage cancer who claimed that the keto diet had helped them survive and rid themselves of the cancer, and also people with severe autism who saw their autistic symptoms drastically reduced as a result of going on a low-carb regimen. But I'm just going to share with you guys what I've actually been doing so far and what the experience has been like. My approach has definitely been far from perfect, but it was kind of one of those things where I didn't want to just endlessly accumulate information. I kind of wanted to just sort of shoot first and ask questions later and sort of learn as I went. But I started by doing a 24-hour fast because I just kind of wanted to hit the reset button and go into it with a clean slate. But there's kind of a misconception that it's expensive to do the ketogenic diet. A lot of people think that you need to buy all these elaborate ingredients and expensive foods like high-quality fish. But thanks to channels like Thomas DeLauer and Keto Connect, I came to realize that you can do it on a budget of just a few dollars a day. I've been picking up like beef, eggs, walnuts, and bacon. That's pretty much what the core of my diet consists of. And while I'm going to be looking to make it a little bit less bland as I continue to go on, I haven't really been having any cravings for carbs. You know, I'm Italian, I pretty much was born and raised on pasta, so I thought it would be more difficult, but it really hasn't been. And I've been using a free app called Carb Manager, which is pretty user-friendly. It has a fairly expansive database of all different food products that you might be ingesting. And it gives you a pretty comprehensive breakdown of what percentage of your calories each macro is comprising. I thought it would be a gigantic pain in the ass to be recording every single thing that I put into my body, but I've sort of gamified it. It's kind of just an interesting process and a challenge to try to get into the right ratios. I'm trying to stick as much as possible to what seems to be most commonly held as the correct ratio of macros to be in, which is 75% fat, 20% protein, and 5% carbs. I've seen articles that say if you stay under 50 grams of carbs a day and just worry about that, then you can still get into ketosis. And other things I've seen say just stay under 20 and you'll be fine. I made a pretty significant error around day 3 because I wanted to experiment with low-carb beer. So even though I haven't had anything to drink other than a small handful of occasions over the course of the last 4 months, I just wanted to get a sense of if it was going to be viable or not for me on keto. So I ended up having about 8 Michelob Ultra Lights, which are 2.6 grams of carbs per beer. So it's actually right about this time that I'm pretty sure I was actually transitioning into ketosis. So in addition to having a lower tolerance and increased adverse effects from the alcohol, I was also getting sodium deficiency from my body kind of flushing out the way that it does when you transition over. So not only was I extremely nauseated, but I was getting a lot of very weird and uncharacteristic aches that I would get that just weren't consistent with a regular hangover. But it was strange because I still felt increased lucidity and even increased positivity, potentially as a result of just the reduced carb intake or possibly the ketosis. But physically, I still felt so badly that it caused me to kind of play it fast and loose with the carbs, so I ended up going a little bit over on the following day, probably kicked myself out. I also haven't been sleeping very well overall, and I've only just started exercising somewhat regularly, which are things that can prevent you from ketosis. But I would say within the last 3 or 4 days, I've been well within my ratios. And I picked up the urine ketone test strips, so within the next day or two, I'm gonna begin testing regularly to see whether or not my metabolism has shifted over. But yeah, guys, I guess my biggest takeaway so far is that it's not as demanding, at least so far, as everyone would seem to want to make it sound. And secondly, I'm feeling less run down. You know, my body just felt so heavy. It felt so difficult to just move around. So I'm feeling incrementally better mentally and physically overall. And I have been getting completely wrecked after I would eat, because either due to too many carbs, too much insulin, or low stomach acid, I couldn't eat a meal without needing to pass out right after. So that's been alleviated too. Camera died, so I had to relocate for this last shot, but I just wanted to add that I'm excited to see where it goes. You know, I'm hoping this is something that will make the difference to making it easier for me to have a more concise narrative for these videos. That's kind of been the largest obstacle for my channel, is just feeling like I don't have the clarity of mind to, you know, make it through a whole recording. It's kind of a lame excuse, but it doesn't make it not the reality of the situation. So I think this could have great long-term benefits on my health and my career. And I'll be sure to post more tips and first-hand experience as time goes on. So thank you guys for checking out the video. This has been No Job Rob. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll come back very soon with more tips designed to help you guys get more time, location, and financial freedom. Thank you for watching, and have a great day, everybody.